All right, let's unpack this. Think about something we all, well, kind of take for granted now.
Hmm.
That constant high-speed internet connection,
Yeah.
video calls, streaming, all that background
Yeah,
stuff.
the data center's humming away.
Exactly. It's all running on this invisible infrastructure.
Yeah.
And today, we're diving deep into a really foundational piece of that. It's called the global fast connector market.
Right. It's one of those things, like you said, totally essential, but you only notice if it isn't working.
For sure.
And our mission today really is to explore how these, well, seemingly small parts are actually enabling this huge transformation in global connectivity. They're underpinning this digital future that's just racing ahead.
Yeah.
We want to uncover the honestly surprising growth this market's seeing, get a handle on its global footprint, and figure out what these big numbers actually mean for, the digital world we're building.
Yeah. And high-speed trajectory really is the right phrase, isn't it? The data we've got, this is from Cognitive Market Research, it shows the market was valued at 3,355.54 million back in 2021.
Okay, so already quite substantial.
Yeah, but get this. It's projected to jump to $4,650.3 million by 2025.
Wow.
And then, wait for it, a staggering $8,931.39 million by 2033.
Goodness, that's more than doubling in about 8 years from 2025.
Exactly. It translates to a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR,
Yeah.
of 8.5%. That's a really healthy clip.
It absolutely is. And that kind of exponential growth, well, it's not happening in a vacuum. It's driven by things we all see and frankly contribute to.
Like what specifically?
Well, think about the huge build out of digital infrastructure everywhere. The massive push for 5G technology globally, and just the ever-increasing demand from applications that eat up data, AI, VR, IoT, cloud computing, all of it.
Right.
And these fast connectors, they're basically the quick links in the fiber optic world. They let technicians connect fiber cables rapidly, reliably, right there on site.
So less complicated setup.
Exactly. No need for that complex, really time-consuming fusion splicing in many cases. This makes them perfect for, getting networks up and running fast or expanding them quickly, especially in tricky spots or, say, dense cities.
Okay, so these aren't just numbers on a page. They represent the actual physical connection, speeding things up, laying the groundwork for, well, maybe technologies we haven't even fully grasped yet.
Precisely.
So let's look at the global picture. Where is this growth really taking off? It seems like Asia-Pacific is really setting the pace here.
Oh, absolutely. Asia-Pacific is the clear leader. Started at $1,332.15 million in 2021.
Okay.
And it's projected to hit a massive $3,652.94 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of 8.734%, just slightly above the global average, indicating its dominance.
Wow. Which countries are driving that within APAC?
Well, China is the big one, the regional heavyweight. It's set to grow from about $548.8 million in 2021 to over $1.5 billion. That's $1,526.93 million by 2033.
Incredible.
But it's not just China. Look at India. It's projected to basically triple its market size,
Yeah.
from $221 million to nearly $625 million by 2033.
A tripling. That's huge.
It tells you something, right? These countries are making massive investments in their digital backbones. They need to support huge populations and rapidly growing digital economies.
Makes sense.
And you also see Japan more than doubling, strong growth in South Korea, Australia, Taiwan, even Southeast Asia as a bloc is climbing steadily from just under $100 million to almost $260 million.
So why is APAC leading so strongly? Is it just population?
It's partly population density, yes, but also a lot of emerging economies playing catch-up and leapfrogging, plus very specific government initiatives pushing things like fiber to the home and smart city projects. They're being very deliberate about building this infrastructure.
Okay, that paints a clear picture of massive scale and ambition. Let's pivot now to North America. Still strong growth, but maybe a different flavor.
Yeah, strong and steady is a good way to put it. The market there was about $859 million in 2021.
Right.
It's projected to hit $11,176.53 million in 2025, and then climb up to $2,242.59 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of just under 8.4%. Still very robust.
And within North America, I assume the U.S. is the main player.
Oh, definitely. The U.S. dominates. It was nearly $700 million, $697.522 million in 2021, and is expected to grow to over $1.8 billion by 2033.
So that's reflecting ongoing upgrades, 5G rollouts.
Exactly. A lot of fiber to the home expansion, replacing older infrastructure alongside all the 5G work. Canada's also a significant piece, growing from around $114 million to $291.5 million over that same period.
Okay, but here's something that jumped out at me in the numbers. Mexico.
Yeah.
Smaller total market size, sure, but it's growing incredibly fast. From $47 million in 2021 to a projected $141 million by 2033, its CAGR is 9.29%. That's actually the highest in North America.
That's a really sharp observation.
What's going on there?
It points to Mexico really accelerating its digital transformation. You're seeing more government investment in telecom infrastructure, a growing middle class demanding better connectivity, and a real push to expand broadband, especially outside the main urban centers.
So fast connectors are ideal for that kind of rapid build-out.
Precisely. Efficiency, speed of deployment, that's key when you're trying to lay down a modern digital foundation quickly, like Mexico is doing. It's a great example of targeted investment paying off.
Fascinating. Okay, so that kind of robust growth,
Yeah.
it's clearly not just in one or two regions. Let's look across the Atlantic to Europe.
Europe's also showing very solid expansion. The market there was about $748 million in 2021, projected to cross the billion-dollar mark by 2025, $1,027.72 million, and reach nearly $1.95 billion, $1,947.04 million by 2033. The CGR there is about 8.3%, very much in line with North America.
And the key countries, Germany.UK.
Yes, Germany leads the way in Europe, expected to grow from around $157 million to over $424 million by 2033. The UK is also strong, projected to hit nearly $300 million from $118 million. France is looking at over $200 million.
Okay.
And you've got Italy and Russia both growing substantially, heading towards over $150 million and $255 million, respectively, plus steady climbs in Spain, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, Luxembourg.
Right, the established players. But what really caught my eye here was the rest of Europe category.
Ah, yes, that's interesting.
It's growing really fast, from about $75 million in 2021 to nearly $300 million, $295.95 million by 2033. That's a CEGR of almost 11%, 10.885%.
Yeah, that is high.
So this raises an important question, doesn't it? What factors might be driving such strong growth in that sort of collective rest of Europe? It feels less like the big economies and more like widespread catch-up.
That's a great question. I think you're onto something. Many of these countries might be smaller individually, but together they represent this broad push for modern digital infrastructure. It could be driven by things like EU funding for broadband, maybe lots of smaller smart city projects, or perhaps just catching up on fiber rollouts that started later than in, say, Germany or France.
So decentralized but widespread growth.
Exactly. It suggests this continent-wide commitment to getting high-speed connections everywhere. And again, fast connectors are perfect for that efficient deployment across all sorts of different places, different terrains, different population densities.
Makes total sense. Collective push. Now, speaking of rapid growth, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The Middle East.
Yes, often overlooked in these tech discussions, but the growth is remarkable.
The market was about $154 million in 2021, projected to reach almost $438 million by 2033, and the CAGR, 8.78%. That's one of the fastest regional growth rates globally.
It really is. It shows how universal this infrastructure drive has become.
Who's leading the charge there?
Saudi Arabia is a major driver. They're expected to go from just under $30 million in 2021 to nearly $86 million by 2033. The UAE is also showing significant growth, from about $27.5 million to over $80 million.
And why such focus there?
Well, a key factor is economic diversification. These nations are investing hugely in moving beyond oil. Digital transformation, massive smart city projects, think NEOM in Saudi Arabia, they're central to that vision.
Right, building futuristic digital societies almost from scratch.
Pretty much. And laying down that fiber optic groundwork efficiently is critical. Fast connectors are tailor-made for that. You also see strong gains in Turkey and Egypt, and the rest of Middle East category is forecast to hit nearly $88 million, so the momentum is quite broad.
Incredible.
Okay,
let's keep moving. South America. The story there seems to be more about consistent, steady growth.
That's a good description. It was valued at about $144 million in 2021.
Okay.
Expected to grow to nearly $350 million, $348.324 million by 2033. That's a CGR of 7.824%. Solid, steady progress.
And Brazil leads there, I imagine.
Yes, Brazil is the largest market, starting at around $57 million in 2021, and projected to hit $140 million. That reflects its size and efforts to push internet access out further. But you also see consistent growth across the board. Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Chile, all landing somewhere between $26 million and $54 million by 2033.
And similar to Europe, that rest of South America category.
Yep, same pattern. It's set to more than double, from about $23 million to over $60 million, with a strong TGR close to 8.5%. So again, it points to this widespread foundational build-out happening across the continent, really trying to bridge the digital divide.
It's a recurring theme, isn't it, this foundational work? Okay, last stop on our global tour. Africa. Represents huge emerging potential, right? The future of digital inclusion, maybe?
Absolutely. The potential is immense. The market size was smaller to start, around $117 million in 2021, but it's forecasted to rise to over $300 million, $302.853 million by 2033. That's with a CAGR of just over 8%.
So still strong growth catching up.
Definitely. And this growth is tied directly into that narrative of global digital inclusion, connecting populations that were previously left behind.
Where are the main hubs of activity?
South Africa shows significant growth, from nearly $50 million to over $126 million. Nigeria, obviously a giant in terms of population and potential, is growing from about $28.5 million to $75 million.
Okay.
And that rest of Africa segment is also expanding significantly, from around $39 million to over $100 million by 2033.
So it's really about building that core infrastructure.
Exactly. Connecting people, enabling e-commerce, education, healthcare, unlocking economic potential across the continent. And fast connectors are vital there because you need rapid, cost-effective ways to deploy infrastructure across huge distances and sometimes challenging terrain. Speed and simplicity matter a lot.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize all this. We've toured the globe, looked at the numbers. What's the big takeaway from our deep dive today?
Well, I think it's crystal clear. The global fast connector market isn't just growing, it's accelerating. It's on this undeniable high-speed path, driven by and enabling our world's insatiable demand for digital connectivity.
Yeah, these tiny unseen bits of plastic and fiber. They're the hidden arteries, aren't they? Absolutely crucial for everything you do online, every single day. Your phone, the cloud, everything.
It really underscores how interconnected things are, how these, seemingly niche components are actually fundamental to global progress. They're powering smart cities, remote work, telehealth, making our whole digital nervous system faster, more resilient.
It's really incredible when you stop and think about it. And given this just explosive growth in the stuff we can see, like fiber cables, makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Wonder what?
What other invisible technologies, the tiny gears in this massive global digital engine, are shaping our future right now in ways we don't even fully realize yet?
That's a great question. Definitely something to mull over. What else is hiding in plain sight, driving the next wave?
Exactly. Something for you to think about next time you effortlessly connect with the world.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We often talk about high-speed internet, automation, but what actually makes it all connect? Today, we're getting into something critical but often overlooked: the fast connector market. These little components are, everywhere. Our mission is to really unpack what's driving their growth, what challenges they face, and what's next. So, let's kick things off. What's the main engine behind this market right now?
It's fascinating, really. A huge part of it is just the sheer unrelenting demand for high-speed networks. Think about 5G rolling out everywhere, fiber optics coming right into your house, those huge data centers.
Right, the backbone of everything digital.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they all need super reliable connections. Fast connectors are key because, they make deployment faster. And crucially, if something goes wrong, say a cable gets cut, using these connectors means you can fix it in minutes, not hours.
So it's resilience too, not just speed of data, but speed of setup and repair.
Precisely. That's massive for critical infrastructure. Then there's the installation itself. It's incredibly efficient. It's basically plug and play. No messy epoxy, no complex polishing like the old days. You just sort of snap it in.
Which means less cost, less specialized training needed.
Exactly. It's a huge win for labor costs and lowers the barrier for technicians. I remember working on a rural project years back, needing almost a clean room environment out in a field for traditional splicing. Nightmare.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Fast connectors, they've made things like large deployments, especially in tricky locations like rural areas, much, much more doable.
Okay, that makes sense for networks. What else?
Well, beyond just networks, think about industrial automation. Industry 4.0, right? Smart factories, and the Internet of Things, all those connected devices. Fast connectors provide those quick, reliable links, both electrical and fiber, that you need. Makes building and maintaining those smart systems way easier.
Okay, so they sound incredibly useful, almost revolutionary in some ways. But nothing's perfect. What are the trade-offs? the challenges. I'm guessing cost might be one.
You're spot on. While they save money long term on labor and downtime, that initial purchase price is higher than traditional connectors or splicing.
Right.
And that can definitely be a barrier, especially if you're working with tighter budgets, maybe in emerging markets.
Makes sense. Anything else beyond the price tag?
Yeah, performance in really harsh environments can be a limitation. Think aerospace or
Mm.
really heavy industrial machinery with lots of vibration.
Okay.
In those cases, sometimes a permanent splice, basically fusing the fibers together, is preferred because it's just mechanically tougher. Fast connectors have moving parts inherently.
I see. So they're not always the best fit for every single scenario.
Right. And another thing is compatibility, or sometimes lack thereof. You have different designs, different types of ferrules. That's the tiny part that holds the fiber.
Mhm.
Different manufacturing tolerances. It means not all connectors from different makers work together perfectly, which can add complexity for the end user. Standardization is still evolving.
Okay, so cost, vibration limits, and some compatibility issues. Given those challenges, where is the market heading? What are the exciting trends shaping the future?
Well, one big trend is definitely miniaturization, making things smaller. As all our devices shrink and server racks get more crowded, we need smaller connectors that can pack more connections into the same space. High density is the name of the game.
Like fitting more lanes on the data highway?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially vital in telecom closets and data centers. Another really interesting area is green energy and smart grids.
Oh, how do they fit in there?
Think about solar panel installations, EV charging stations, the smart grid infrastructure managing power flow. Fast connectors are great there because they're easy to install and maintain out in the field, often in less than ideal conditions.
Got it. Quick and reliable connections for our energy future.
Exactly. And one more thing we're seeing is a real shift toward pre-terminated assemblies.
Pre-terminated, you mean like ready-made cables?
Precisely. Cables that come from the factory with the fast connectors already attached and tested.
Ah, so you just plug them in on site.
Right. It massively speeds up deployment, ensures consistency because it's factory-controlled quality, and again, reduces the need for skilled labor on site. Big efficiency gain for large network builds.
So it really sounds like whether it's your phone signal, your online services, the factory down the road, or even how we manage energy, these fast connectors are quietly working behind the scenes. They're constantly evolving, becoming smaller, more versatile, really shaping our connected world in ways we probably don't even notice.
Absolutely. They are fundamental enablers. Despite the challenges, they're constantly adapting, finding new applications, and pushing technological boundaries across so many sectors. They're pretty crucial components of modern life, really.
So here's something to think about. As our hunger for instant communication and smarter automation just keeps growing, what new breakthroughs might we see to tackle the remaining limits of these connectors? And what completely new possibilities could that unlock for the future?